Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the line 90.7 FM. There's been a lot of Me Too almost moments this weekend. Or this week, I should say. Starting with Justice Kavanaugh, who, if you have been living under a rock, is the justice that President Trump has picked to replace Kennedy on the Supreme Court. And he's been going through his confirmation hearing. And, of course, Democrats have been trying to pull every stunt in the book to stop this. And I'm not making it up when I say that. Senator Feinstein, who's in the Senate Judiciary Committee that's dealing with all this stuff, gave info to the FBI about a letter she got from a woman in high school with Justice Kavanaugh in the 80s who accused him of holding her down and forcing himself onto her at a party. Feinstein got this letter way back in July, but fast forward to September, she all suddenly remembered that she had it, and she happened to remember she had it during this confirmation hearing. And 65 women have countered her, saying that Kavanaugh is a great man, all this stuff. They come to his defense. They said, quote, "We are women who have known Brett Kavanaugh for more than 35 years and knew him while he attended high school between 1979 and 1983. For the entire time we have known Brett Kavanaugh, he has behaved honorably and treated women with respect. He respects women, people." And the letter, continued on with, "We strongly believe it is important to convey this information to the committee at this time," which I understand. So, what do you think of this, Mr. Alex? Do you think it's all a bunch of crap? That's why I lean towards.
They're going after him for things that he's done in high school. This is years, decades and decades, and he wasn't even an adult at the time. Are they going to go after people for pushing Sally on the swing set when they were 5 years old? Is that what we're going to start doing? And it's just fake news. You have no evidence for it. And it was at an all boys school too. So that's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, if he was not attracted to girls, then that'd be a little bit more interesting. But this is a guy who, is a very good Christian family man. You never know, but it doesn't make sense for him to do this sort of thing. I really think it's not real. Because all these women have come back and said he didn't do this. The guy that was supposedly with him when this happened says he didn't recollect it. He could be lying, but I don't know. I just think it's a bunch of BS, but who knows?
Well, the kid's not even... Well, he wasn't an adult at the time. He was in high school. So, even with heinous crimes, if you do them when you're, under the age of 18, they generally get, discarded once you turn 18, or I guess if you're an older teenager, it'll eventually be scrubbed, basically, for the most part. You're not done developing yet, and I think that's a really low blow that they're trying to go and do, especially for being so long ago. And with I don't see any evidence of this. Even if there was, this was when he was a kid. Yeah. So, they want to go and have, say, Trayvon Martin and stuff did, nothing wrong, and he was, this good boy throughout his entire life. But then they go and say that Kavanaugh was, a dirty rapist because of something that happened when he was a kid. I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy over there.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And like I said, the timing of this makes it so suspicious. She claims she got the letter in July, and now she comes up with it. I mean, come on. They're just looking for stuff to take him down. Even if he did this, their motivation is just to stop his confirmation. And it's not going to affect him. I mean, this really is nothing, especially when you have the outpouring of support on his side. I just think it's really annoying when they're just so disingenuous about it, because they act like they care about the victims. They don't. They do not care about the victims.
Absolutely. They just want to go and get their own political agenda across. You can see what happened with other people. Look at Bill Clinton. They didn't go after him for things he did a few years ago.
Yeah.
But before he became president. But with Kavanaugh stuff they did 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of double standards, and I don't like it.
Yeah. And a similar but opposite sort of scenario, because it's related to Me Too, happened where comedian Norm Macdonald, who used to be on Saturday Night Live, who actually got fired for making a bunch of OJ jokes that were really funny. And he got banned from The View for the longest time for calling Bill Clinton a murderer on The View.
Oh,
yeah. So
they call Trump a Nazi and all these other things, and they say that he's a rapist, and they can get away with that.
Yeah.
But heaven forbid you call someone whose entire family has been documented accounts with like ties to criminals.
Yeah.
You even insinuate that, even if it's like in a joking manner or something.
Yeah, and he
You
did
know,
this all stuff years ago, so he has this record. But he said the most he said literally the least controversial thing he's ever said, and he got banned from the Tonight, or his appearance was canceled on the Tonight Show when he said, "quote I'm happy the Me Too moment has slowed down a little bit. It used to be 100 women can't be lying, and then it became one woman can't lie, and then it became I believe all women, and then you're like what? Like that Chris Hardwick guy, I really thought got the blunt of the end of the stick there." Unquote. And then he also said,
absolutely.
I just want to finish his quote. He's also said, the model used to be admit wrongdoing, show complete contrition. Was it I can't read. I've never heard that word before. And then we give you a second chance. Now it's admit wrongdoing and you're finished. And so the only way to survive is deny, deny, deny. That's not healthy. And there is no forgiveness. I do think that at some point it will end up with a completely innocent person of prominence sticking a gun to his head and ending it. That's my guess. I know a couple of people this has happened to. I think he's just he didn't say anything wrong there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a fair analysis of it. But if you're on the left, you don't want to hear that. And it's funny too, because you mentioned the person who kicked off the Today Show for mentioning like the Clinton thing. Like they do that all the time. But like when you have Kathy Griffin with like Trump's head, that's considered like appropriate. But like Hank Williams, I think he made a joke about Barack Obama, and he got kicked off of ESPN or for like the morning, or not the morning, like for the football song. They kicked him off after that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just want to silence people. And if you have an opinion like that's against their against the grain, then they just want to silence you and deplatform you. And I think that's pretty wrong for them to do that.
Yeah, and everybody like Norm Macdonald has this humor style that's very sort of deadpan, very sort of matter of fact, sometimes even sarcastic. And I think they forget, like, because he talks in such a normal way, but he's really funny. And these people take him way too literally and way too seriously. It's just like the guy's joking, obviously. It's like his OJ thing was when he was on SNL. He was like, something like, OJ's released now, and now I can get back to what he's good at, killing people. And everybody, I think that was, I don't know if that was a joke that fired him, but he said stuff like that was like funny, and it was great, and he has great delivery with it. But you can't joke about OJ appearing at NBC, because I think the bosses were like friends with him or something. But it's like really annoying that we're in a society where you can't joke about anything, no matter how uncontroversial or controversial it is.
Like, let's be clear with OJ too. Like, it's not that's like saying the who is that woman like a few years ago like had her kid in the back of her car and like looked up how to bury a body and got off scot-free.
Oh, are you
like,
thinking of the girl?
But it's like,
yeah.
Huh?
Are you thinking of that girl that where she drowned in like a swimming pool, but it was basically the mother's fault? I forget her name.
Casey Anthony. That's
Casey
what it was,
Anthony. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it was Casey. It was like basically saying that Casey, you're not allowed to say Casey Anthony's a murderer. Like, yeah, technically the court said she wasn't a murderer, but like, all the evidence points to it. Like with OJ, he was like running from the police on a high-speed chase, and then like he had like the gloves, and there was a motive for it. Yeah. And I'm really surprised that they aren't going like revisiting that because of all the Me Too stuff going on. Like you'd think he murdered a woman who was like they were separated and she was trying to get on with her life and he didn't want that. Like you would think that the Me Too supporters of the world would be like, hey, OJ, we should probably not have supported this guy. Let's go and like, allow people to go and talk smack about him and get that guy's job back. But no, of course not. It's only like in the current year unless it's about a Republican.
Yeah. Well, next thing you know, they're going to start saying OJ did nothing wrong. Like literally.
Well, they say that. Like, if you talk to people, like I've seen the video. He obviously did it, but like it was just a very politicized case, and it's like the Casey Anthony one. You have a jury like that, and they decide on if you live and die. And once you have that sort of money for lawyers to go and like make everything look like cloudy, then you have reasonable doubt. And that's like really a sad thing about our justice system. If you have enough money for a good lawyer, you can pretty much get away with murder.
Yeah.
Like. I don't really know how to fix that because, like, really, how can you fix the lawyer system? Like, you can't ban them because people hire other people to go and write like speeches for them. Like they tried that in ancient Greece and that didn't work. they'd find ways around it. And
Right.
you know, like people like a public defender, they can really mess you up. You could be completely innocent too and end up in jail. Like I think there was some guy who's completely innocent. He was in jail for like 15 years
Wow.
because of like it was like a murder or rape or something, and he was completely innocent. He was in jail for 15 years on life sentence, and then like years later when they discovered genetic testing, they tested everything. He got out like scot-free. But really, when you're in jail that long, your life is pretty much like done.
Yeah.
You know, like what can you do? Like you've been in jail that long, you're probably like mentally broken. You don't really know how to do any sort of useful skills. And I guess they pay, I think they probably pay him like $1 million, but still, like $1 million maybe back in like the like 80s or something, or like 70s, like before they had the massive inflation, that was probably a decent bit of money. But like today, if you have $1 million, it's like, yeah, you can live for a while, but you know, you're really gonna have some hard time dealing with everything, and you probably got taxed. Well, I don't know if they actually tax that, but still, like that's gonna take a lot. And he, you know, I don't think he had a wife. You're just really screwed, you know?
Yeah, it's a really sad and depressing situation to be put away for doing nothing, literally doing nothing wrong. And then even if they do let you out years later, you know, it's still like a massive portion of your one life. Your one life is just wasted now for doing nothing.
And see, that's why I have a major problem with false accusers, and why I think they need to be like, you know, they need to get punished a lot more for what they're doing. Because like, look at the Duke lacrosse players from like way back then. They were all exonerated. They didn't do anything. The girl was found to be a liar. Look at the mattress girl. They found the text messages. They have everything out there.
Oh, mattress.
But the guy's still demonized. Like, what's he going to be able to do? Like, he can't really find a job anywhere because they still think he's a rapist. But like, you know, he's got to move on. Once you're put in that situation, like the only real alternatives that you have is to like, you know, maybe if you have good friends or something, but it makes a life of crime very appetizing because no like regular employer is going to hire you unless he, and I doubt he got that much, like any sort of large settlement to live the rest of his life in peace. Like you're just, it's one of the worst things that can happen to you. The only thing worse than like lying about someone like who's like falsely accusing someone is doing the actual crime. That's the only thing worse.
Yeah, I totally agree. On to more depressing news. Article 13 has been passed by the EU Parliament. If you don't know what that is, well, there are two articles actually, Article 11, Article 13, but this whole package passed with 438 votes to 226 with 39 absences. Article 11 would require internet companies to pay news outlets for hosting their content on their platform. So what does that mean? That means that if you, let's say, quote a news article, just a small bit of it, or even paste a hyperlink, which is citing your source, then you will be held accountable for that, and you would have to pay for that because of copyright. Even though it's not really the point of a news outlet. The point of a news outlet is to disseminate news, and other people share it and pick up on it, and how dare they even cite it. So many are thinking that this will force social media companies like, you know, Facebook and Twitter and all of them to pay for news organizations to actually feature their content on their sites in the EU, which is insane and ridiculous and really doesn't make any sense. You know, news, sharing news and giving the link to it is perfectly fine with fair use, at least in America, but of course not with the EU. And Article 13 would require all these companies to filter all the copyrighted material on their websites. So that could be pretty much anything from songs to pictures to videos to anything. So anything that gets uploaded on their platform that's copyright needs to be removed. Unless, of course, you do pay for it and you get permission license it. Which means if you have a meme that is, you know, odds are a meme uses a copyright image like a Pepe, then you'd have to take that off your site. So this thing is a giant meme killer. And the only way these websites are going to be able to take off all this copyright content, because there's so much of it out there that's shared around on the internet, they would have to use AI. They would have to use algorithms to filter all this stuff out. And we all know that these algorithms can be biased. They can be completely wrong and remove stuff that isn't copyrighted. even though it says it is. And you're going to have copyright trolls. You're going to have AI trolls that are, if somebody's going to copyright something that, isn't copyright or that everybody's using just to screw people over and to get this stuff pulled from websites. And it gets worse because like when you upload, like my example is like a movie poster, like you're like, oh my god, this poster for Avengers is awesome, look at it, guys. That was trending on Twitter when that thing came out because Marvel fanboys love to spread that stuff. You would have to pull that down if you were Facebook and Twitter because that poster's copyright. I mean, that's ridiculous. Or what if you had a company logo in your picture? That would have to be removed. It's absolutely insane. You cannot share anything. It's not like you're using this stuff to make money. You're just sharing it. You're allowed to do that. At least in the free world, that is.
Oh yeah, like it's completely messed up in Europe. I don't know how they're going to be able to recover from this. Like it's going to really hurt the small businesses because they can't afford to go and like ban memes like instantly, and like that's just a lot on small guys. And then the Article 11 itself, that's really going to hurt people like being able to go and like post anything on Facebook, even like linking to an article, you're gonna be like fined for doing that, or like they have to go and pay the companies. And you'll see like a couple, and probably the liberal news outlets who do this, they'll have a couple of them they can go and share because they know it's free advertising. Then anything interesting, they'll make you pay like whatever the price is to go and link to it. And I don't see that as being very conductive to a better world. Like it's just, you can't spread news anymore. That's what they're doing. They're anti-news, they're anti-science, and it's going to bring us back hundreds of years because like, they say it's like, it starts with social media, but they have like like if you try to go and share scholarly work and it has like a link to something, like how are you going to do that? It's going to hurt the universities actually. That's what I'm thinking that people need to go and start looking into.
Yeah, and I love how Sargon of Akkad and Count Danko, who are two big anti-SJW YouTubers and anti-EU YouTubers, they were having a ball there, but at the same time, they were pretty depressed because they said it was just a bunch of boomers that were talking about things they knew nothing about and really just voted because somebody told them to. This is why Brexit happened, and like this is just another reason why it was the right choice, because you literally have a bunch of people that know nothing about your country, nothing about the internet, nothing about really anything relevant to you. They're deciding on things that affect your life. I mean, that's why we broke away from England as Americans. It's just so screwed up. I mean, boomers, man. We need some boomer control, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. They tend to go and like mess things up. They have no clue how the internet works, and they don't even look at the articles like that they're voting on. It's just really sad. And like the European Union, it's not a very democratic system either way.
Yeah.
Like, do the people even get like? How does that actually work? Like to vote on the people in the EU Council? Like, do people even really care that much, or they just like vote party wise?
I think they just go by party, and it's kind of like when we do our like local elections where we do whatever the party says. Basically, I think that's basically how it works with them. They don't know these people. It's just a terrible system. But unity. I remember Bono was like saying that waving a EU flag is like a rebellious act. It's anti-establishment. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's literally the establishment.
Oh, I agree. The EU is just like it was a good idea on paper, maybe before the like Soviet Union was gone, but now it's just gone so farther reaching. Like it used to just be a economic union. Now they've like been told they want to build a military, they want to regulate the internet. And this becomes so much more than its original like plan. That's why the United Kingdom, they wanted to originally like get out of the EU because of this. And now like it's just getting worse and worse. I think they made the right decision, but their politicians don't like it very much. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to go and like stall as much as possible until the people speak up, or they just have another vote and it votes the way they want it to.
Tell us about what you found.
All right. Well, it looks like the FDA is going to be regulating flavored e-cigarettes, including the recent the new one called Juul. That's been like it's like the iPhone of the vaping world, basically.
It's
and they're saying that like kids are doing it too much, and that they don't want people to become addicted. But here's the thing with like e-cigarettes, it's like they've done scientific studies, and it's generally considered to be better. Like people say, I've seen studies that say 95% less damaging than traditional cigarettes. I've seen like things where they like, you know what they do with the cigarettes? They put into like a bottle and put a bunch of like those little cotton things in there, those little cotton swabs, and they go and
I
like,
wouldn't know, sir.
smoking over a month. Huh?
I wouldn't know, sir.
Yeah, like they do that, and then like the vaping, it's like it's significantly less. Like it doesn't even look that bad, but like they're saying that it appeals to kids too much, but like, and they're like, oh, you look at Juul, they have flavors like these fruity flavors, and then you have these other ones like they have the traditional tobacco companies. They have like tobacco and like summer melody or something, but then Juul has like fruit cocktail and stuff, or like cream brulee, and they're like, oh, this is very kids will start using this. Well, here's the thing, and what I'm talking about is like, you know, smoking and e-cigarettes are very different. One, like e-cigarettes are not nearly as damaging as smoking, and I think there's actually some benefits to nicotine as a substance. It's not that much different than caffeine.
I've read into this. There's e-cigarettes and vaping is better for you, but it's still bad for you. There's still links to heart disease. There's still links to, I think, even cancer. There's still links to a lot of things. It's not good for you.
Well, yeah, but I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. And the thing is, we have alcohol right now. They're talking about legalizing marijuana, and I don't think any of those are any like worse than vaping. To be honest with you, like alcohol,
they are worse.
They have like these wine coolers, the like Mike's Hard Lemonade. And they have these ones that look and taste like soda. And, you know, it's clearly marketed to kids, but they turn a blind eye to that. You know, they want to go and be like, oh, you can't have flavored cigarettes in America, which I think is one of the stupidest things they've ever done. And now they want to go and regulate, like, no, you can't have flavored vape juice. But the thing is with vape juice, it's a lot harder to deal with that because, like, you can make your own flavors. You can buy flavoring that's not even specific to alcohol. You can buy stuff with zero nicotine. And like, why does it matter if it's got literally no nicotine, then there's really nothing to worry about, like other than the PG and PG.
Yeah, they put other stuff in these things that's bad for you. Like people always make that argument with marijuana. They're like, oh, it's natural. There's no nicotine. Yeah, but I think it's PCP. Is that what's called? No,
that's another drug. But some people
what's the thing in marijuana that's bad for you? What's it called?
Oh, they got like tar. I mean, marijuana.
Tar. But there's some other like it's like 3 letters. It's something like that.
THC.
Yeah, THC.
CBD?
That's it. THC. It's THC. So it's like I'd never buy the argument that it doesn't have this, so therefore it's good. It always has other bad stuff. It's not good for you. Like it's pretty cut and dry. I even saw a PragerU video on this that was like defending vaping to the point where they were like, oh, it's flawless. It can't do anything wrong to you. They never mentioned any of the bad stuff, and I was a bit like, disappointed with them on that.
They don't have that much bad stuff in. Like they have like they have 2 things in there. It's PV and like propylene glycol and vegetable glycol, and then they have whatever flavoring you want to put in there, and then nicotine. I mean, you can make it yourself. They have kits on the internet to go and make your own vaping supplies.
I'm sure.
It's not. Yeah. It's really not all that bad for you as like some people in the media want you to think. But like my problem with it, it's like, oh, they're making a big deal about kids potentially using this, but they, like people can eat like Twinkies. And honestly, like look at how many people die of heart disease from obesity. Look how damaging, look how much billions of dollars goes into like dealing with obese people. Like honestly, that's probably worse, than vaping.
Yeah, but like, vaping has side effects. And then when they have health issues, everybody else has to pay for their medical bills. That's the problem I have with it. I'm all for, hey, if you want to do something to your body that screws you up, have fun. You can do that. But I don't want to be flipping the bill on that, and I don't want any secondhand effects. I would be perfectly fine of allowing all this stuff as long as if you have to go to the hospital for something related to smoking or vaping or drugs or alcohol, and I don't pay for it, that's fine. You have to pay for it out of pocket. That's the way I look at it, because you're doing something that affects you and you only. I shouldn't have to pay for that.
Well, the vaping thing too, it's a lot less. It's not nearly as damaging. It's not like you're not inhaling smoke. Like most of the damaging stuff from cigarettes was the tar.
Yeah,
like that was it. And then with vaping, most of the issues came from improperly processed vape juice. Like they go and put some stuff in there, but now I think it's regulated to a sufficient degree. You already have to be 18 to buy it, So like I don't see how kids are accessing it unless they're doing it like their parents are buying it for them, or some kids like ordering it off the internet. And if you order it off the internet, then your parents should be the ones checking their packages, because kids can order a lot of like potentially damaging stuff off the internet. Like they have books on building weapons and stuff. Like parents need to go and be alert of what their kids are doing online. I think that's the parents' fault if your kid's becoming a vapor when he's a kid. Like, if it says it's cotton candy, like you're not even allowed to go into like most vape stores unless you're like 18 or older. It's like a
well, they're getting
shop.
it secondhand from like friends or other people. But vaping, I did fact check this because I wrote about this on Facebook. Vaping does contain formaldehyde and lead, two very bad things.
Well, the thing is, like, water contains a certain amount of lead, and it contains a certain, like, there's trace amounts of bad things in just about everything. Like,
yeah, I know, but it's substantially more in vaping that it's related to a lot of these negative effects. I mean, I know they're putting chemicals in the water that turns the frogs gay, but it's not like vaping is has a little bit of this stuff, and it's a substantial amount, and that's why you see it linked to heart disease and even cancer.
Well, they could go and just make it better. I could just go and make them, like, force them to go and use
or just don't vape. Don't vape. It's kind of a simple thing.
No, they could just go and, like, we have things in the water. If there's problems with them putting chemicals in, like, you can literally buy the chemicals yourself and mix it, like pure chemicals. Like, and the thing is, I guess, is the chemical manufacturers, and you can, I bet, just regulate them more if they're not doing it enough. That would go and solve those issues with that, like, right quick.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how propylene glycol and vegetable glycol, and you don't need both of those. You could do like one completely propylene glycol, another one completely vegetable glycol. Most of them do like a mix. And like you can go and get those things done, like and they're done in laboratories. Maybe like the problem was there's a lot of these really cheap ones coming in. I think those were a bit problematic.
Yes, that's
true. The coils, there's cotton in there, so I don't know if maybe there's stuff in the cotton, because like there's trace elements in literally everything.
Oh yeah.
And they could just go and regulate that a little bit more.
I agree. We're pro regulation on something.
Well, no, I'm really not pro regulation. I think it's fine the way it is, because I used to smoke before, and I noticed something like if I try to go and run after I smoke, I noticed I had a hard time, but after I vape, it's fine. Like but I buy the quality stuff. It's like you buy some gut rot liquor, and you drink that, it's not as good.
I can't relate to that example either.
There's one particular brand of alcohol I've known that has particularly painful hangovers. Not going to mention any names, but I'm pretty sure anyone who's been to Penn State or to like a frat party knows this brand of vodka I'm referring to. But they just make different things in different ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't see how this is an issue though, because like kids aren't allowed to go and buy it. Yeah, like there was a time where kids could just go up to the stores and buy it, and stores that sold to kids, I think they're really bad people. There was one particularly within State College that did that, and I was really upset at them. But like it's regulated now, so I don't see why they need to be involved.
Yeah, I agree. There is some overreaction, like, oh, it's flavored, so kids are going to get it. No, kids don't do it for that reason. They do it to be edgy or to be rebellious or because they're stupid or they have bad influences. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons you could point to. I'm obviously very cynical of it. As the average viewer know, I'm a pretty straight edge guy. But anyway, we'll move on to our next topic, which is the Dalai Lama. If you don't know who the Dalai Lama is, he's literally the happiest little man in the world. He's so happy. He loves his life. But he's pretty red pill when it comes to refugees, and people don't like that. He said in an interview, quote, "I think Europe belongs to the Europeans. Receive them, help them, educate them, but ultimately, they should develop their own country." Europe, for example, Germany, cannot become an Arab country. Germany is Germany. There are so many that in practice it becomes difficult. From a moral point of view, too, I think that the refugees should only be admitted temporarily. The goal would be that they return and they rebuild their countries. Oh my God, Dalai Lama, aka base monk right here. I mean, he's like triggering so many people with a pretty central, very centrist opinion here. He's not even saying we shouldn't take in refugees. He said we should, but educate them, help them out, but send them back to their country to rebuild their country. They're not staying here, which I think that's a perfectly reasonable position.
Absolutely. Like, what was the point of countries? Like, if everyone's just there because of whatever reason, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, look at the history of France versus Germany versus Belgium versus Luxembourg. Like, you see these tiny little countries and they're all spread about, but like nowadays you go to France and you have a bunch of different people living
Yeah, you
there.
have to
It's
speak
not the United
Arabic when you
States.
go
Like, the
there.
United States was a melting pot, but Europe was never meant to be that. Like, it's just the way things were. And I know like the United States isn't Europe, but like, if everyone in Europe's like not European anymore, what is that? That's just not Europe.
Yeah, you have to speak
But like, yeah,
Arabic
you
when you
should
go to.
definitely go and fix your own countries, because if we take like the best and brightest from whatever country, and they aren't, by the way, there a lot of people are coming in there for like reasons that aren't necessarily completely obvious, like what they say on the papers.
Mm-hmm.
They might not actually be fleeing a war. They might just be going there for economic reasons. But like, they need to go back to their countries and build it up. And like, that's a good argument though against like high skilled immigration, because if the best and brightest from like, like a random country like Kenya or India or wherever, they come to the United States and they live there, then that's going to hold those countries back, because they lost a great resource. Like, humans are one of the most important resource in today's economy. Like, look at Japan. They've had like next to no natural resources, but they're still like one of the top 10 economies in the whole world.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, like I know it's become a meme, but like when you go to France, you have to speak Arabic now. That's not the way France is supposed to be. And I'm not even saying shut down the borders. I'm just saying you have to assimilate people when they come into your country, so that you have a cohesive society that can actually just literally communicate with itself to start with. But then, so you don't have all the problems that you're seeing right now, where people with different values, with different set of moral beliefs, or not many, are coming into a country that has a totally different set of values. And that's why you have rapes going up, murders going up, stabbings, bombings, all this stuff is going up. Even I think in England they're having a scooter problem where people are riding around these scooters and killing people. It's really awful, but I don't see.
Like, look at France. They just had like there was a terrorist attack with a car, like I think a couple of days ago, and
really?
I don't think anyone got killed, but like 2 people I know got like had to get an ambulance called, and they have like major terrorist attacks like very often. That's why you see what the Europeans call like far right parties. I don't know if they're actually far right, because they call like
they're not
Donald Trump a far right politician, but like they have these parties rising because they want to have their own country. Like, they don't want Europe to turn into like Saudi Arabia, because one, that'd be very anti like Western values. They're very unprogressive to how they treat women over there, how they treat gays, how they treat just about anyone other than like male Muslims in those countries. They're the only ones who get treated any decently, and even then they still don't get treated that good. They can't hold hands with their own wife in public.
Yeah,
to my knowledge.
And I've always said this, I'll say again, only in Muslim majority countries is homosexuality punishable by death. Only in Muslim majority countries.
Yeah, I think there was like, I don't know, I think Uganda, I don't know if it was a death penalty, but that's not very common either way. But like, my thing is, if you import like people from one country into another country, like a mass migration, and they have problems in the country that has people taken out of them, you're just going to bring the problems over there, like potentially, like unless you do some serious vetting. But if you do it on a mass scale, you can't really do that. When you have migrants coming in without proper paperwork, you can't vet them. They're undocumented, and if they're undocumented, you don't know who's actually coming over.
Yeah, and the quote Black Panther, when we bring the migrants here, they bring their problems with them. Yeah, that movie has some woke dialogue in it, and then the character actually changes at the end where you like want to bring in refugees. I was like, darn, like they had such a woke red pilled message right there, and they show his character development as becoming like a social justice warrior at the end.
Yeah, it's a red pill within a blue pill.
Yeah, I guess so. But speaking of that, video leaked out of Google that is absolutely hilarious, especially if you're on the right, where they have like these conferences like every week called TGIF, and they have one right after the election, and it's all these like Google executives, like the CEO, all these like top people that are literally crying over the fact Trump won, and they say that they're going to do something about it to prevent this. I mean, Jesus. If you thought there wasn't a bias at Google, and if you didn't think that it was controlled by a bunch of social justice warriors, I mean, this is literal proof of that now. And it proves James Damore was right all along once again when he said that, they don't tolerate conservative views and it's not welcome there. It totally isn't. These people are far left social justice warriors, Ryan's coming. They cried when their gal, who is really corrupt and really unlikable, lost. I mean, Jesus, I didn't see Republicans crying when Obama won. I didn't see them crying when Bill Clinton won.
Well, see, I think that's another reason for that could be that the men on the left, they tend to be a lot more, I guess the word of in touch with their feminine side. Let's put it like that.
You mean soy?
The soy boys.
Yeah.
They're all going to be crying over there in their executive suits. Oh, I might not make $2 billion this year. I might only make 1.9. Oh.
Yeah. I'm not the most masculine, alpha male around the block. I think you'd agree with that. I have a bit of a femininity to me, but I don't cry when, my, candidate loses. I don't cry over that. I don't get all hysterical. I haven't cried in years, in fact, but these people probably do on a daily basis.
They probably just turn on they have a 9-minute yelling at Trump and crying and being all tearful and marching.
Yeah,
that's what they do. They don't really do activism as much as as probably they should, which is a good thing for us.
Yeah,
but they just cry and they go into Twitter and they go on to CNN and they just go and make a big mockery of themselves. And people don't respect that. They wonder why the kids right now are becoming more authoritarian is because they see these their parents were a bunch of very effeminate men. They don't really respect that. That's why you see ideologies that are more authoritarian start to rise. That's why you have all these issues. It's because people don't respect these weak men as much as they respect a strong man and strong women too. They don't respect that. And the thing is with Google and all those people crying and stuff, they say, oh, we don't discriminate against conservatives, but they literally send the video. We'll make sure this can't happen again. They're doing that right now by limiting free speech, by putting roadblocks for conservatives. I think Crowder, he was his videos were being actively manipulated so they didn't score as high as they were. Go on to the
trending
top list
page
or the recommended videos. I think he had a lawsuit over that.
Well, what he was talking about was his video was Fen Computer when he crashed that LGBT party at South by Southwest and was trolling them with identifying as a computer. That video got pulled from YouTube. Far worse stuff is still up on YouTube, like Antifa videos and even terrorist propaganda. But what he talks about more importantly is the fact that his videos get more engagement, more likes, and sometimes even more views than a lot of late night shows are on TV and the Young Turks. But Cenk with his iPhone filming him going, this is crazy and stuff, gets trending on the top on the trending page of YouTube, but his videos don't. I mean, there's a clear bias with the algorithms, and we said a million times with what Twitter's done, banning only conservatives for the most part. Banning. Look what they did to Alex Jones. That was a full out collusion with big tech to unperson somebody from the internet.
Oh yeah, they literally said they don't want Trump to be elected again. The only way they can do that is by completely censoring the internet. You saw what we talked about earlier with Article 11 and 13. That's going to be extended to include quote unquote hateful rhetoric, and that will include any sort of pro-Trump memes, unless it's just a picture of Trump. And even then, they'll probably censor that in a few years. It's gone so far that you have groups of people now, which is good, I guess, on the right. They're just you have to meet in person. Because they can't do it on the internet. That's what they're doing is they're just making people go into the dark net and all these other things because you can't have a decent conversation. And when then they drive then the radicals stick out over there because they don't have any sort of people to stop them because you can't do it on a free and open internet. So you get more radicals.
Yeah.
Look at Hitler. He came into place because he was he came into power because they banned all sorts of things and they did a big crackdown on political parties and in Germany at that time. And he was within a small group and he was radical and they just ended up going from there. It's an incubation station for all the worst sorts of thoughts and ideologies when you have an echo chamber, and that's why we need to go and stop it.
Yeah, totally.
for the left and the right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Echo chambers are bad no matter what group think you're in. It's just, it always breeds lack of openness and total cult-like sort of personalities. But
Yeah, like just look at this deplatforming stuff they've been doing. It doesn't make these people go away. You think just because you ban someone from Twitter, they're not gonna have following somewhere else. Even if it's not on the internet, they'll go and do like IRL stuff. Like,
yeah,
just look at like what was it, like
Alex Jones.
Sargon. He got banned off Twitter, but he's doing probably even better than before. And like Milo, he's still out there. It might be harder for him. It might make him try harder, but all that'll do is make them, like try harder. And then they'll end up doing something else. And they can't just keep censoring them unless they like just throw them in prison. And if they do that, they're going to become a martyr. Like, look what happened
Tommy
to
Robinson.
Nelson Mandela when they threw him into prison. That's when he became like the patron saint of the ANC.
And Tommy Robinson. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I cut out for a second.
I said and Tommy Robinson.
Oh yeah, look at him. He's grown much stronger ever since he got sent to prison. That's what they're doing, and he's not even like a particularly far right person.
No,
like there's much more people to the right of him, and they're starting to grow more and more. But their censorship isn't really doing anything positive. It's like
pause.
The censorship is basically like someone taking a drug to make the pain go away. They're not actually feeling that's like solving the root of the problem. Like a general analogy that Mr. Stefan Malinak says, it's like taking cocaine for a toothache, like they did back in the 1800s. Yeah, it'll make the pain go away, but your teeth are going to rot and you're going to die of heart disease from an infection.
Yep. So before we end this hour, and in case our guy calls in, do you want to give a lowdown on that thing happening in Arizona, or should we wait?
I think we should probably go at this point. I don't think he's able to make it. He's got kids and a wife and stuff, so I think he's got a lot on his plate. But basically, what happened, we were talking a little bit about the, some like the immigration problem. But there was a school in Arizona. It was called the Cave Creek Unified School District in partnership with Arizona State University. They had a program, and they didn't tell the parents about this, by the way. And they bring in 15 men/teachers from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And they didn't send them. They sent the letters to the parents of the kids who were going to those classrooms. They didn't send any letters to they should have said that everywhere. And they used to have a public statement on their website, but since they've taken it down, and they're just teaching. They're going to be in there with the children. I don't think these people, like from what the guy's telling me, these people may or not have been properly vetted, and they don't know. The parents are completely left out of the dust. And if the parents like try to ask anything, they're called, racist, and they're like shut down. They call it hate speech when the parents are concerned about these people teaching their kids. And this isn't like just the high schools. I think they're in the elementary schools. They're in the elementary school in that school district. They're in, I think, all three of them. And I don't see really what they can do within an elementary school, like why they need to go and have these people in there for 5 weeks. Like it'd be one thing if you bring them down there for like a day or two, but for a full 5 weeks of teaching, that's almost an entire semester at like college. 8 weeks is like a semester generally in college, but 5 weeks, that's a long time. And when they don't even allow parents to go and like question any of it or like ask why, who proved this, where are they going to be teaching, they're not told anything. Like the guy, he found out by his own child telling him about it. That was the first time he heard about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'd like to go know if my school district was bringing these people from like another country, especially one like Saudi Arabia, because they're they're not very progressive over there, to say the least. Like, and these are all male teachers too, so like I don't know what their stances on women are going to be. I don't know if they're going to just be fine. I don't know if they'll be talking about Islam a lot. I don't know what they're doing. He doesn't know what they're doing, and it's like. They don't even have a teaching certificate in America, to my knowledge. That's what he's told me. It's breaking news. He just heard about it, I think, on Friday. So it's just really weird. It's strange too, because it's in Arizona in a very conservative school district. So why are they doing that there? Are they trying to go and like politically influence people? I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough yet, and I don't think he knows enough yet. But I'd be very concerned if like they start importing like a teacher for my child who's in elementary school from a different country to teach for 5 weeks, because that's a lot of time. Like, why? Like, where are they going to be teaching right now? Are they qualified to teach whatever they're going to be teaching to an American? Because like the language barrier is definitely a thing, and why are they doing it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is why are they even doing this? Like, do they have a shortage of teachers, or like, what's the incentive? Are they getting these Saudi Arabian teachers for really cheap? I mean, I don't understand it. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, and they took down like the then like they had like a thing on their website, and they took it down, like an announcement about it, because they're getting too much backlash. Like, come on, you should go and stand by whatever thing you did, and if not, you should go and write about it, and say that you changed. But they haven't changed to my knowledge as of yet. And you shouldn't go and call parents like racist for questioning who's to be teaching their kids if they're from a different country. And they probably don't even have like an American education, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, why they need these people here, like teaching elementary school kids? That like maybe in a high school or something for like a day or two, yes, but like I'm just afraid they could be propagandizing these kids.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't have.
You cut out a little bit.
Oh really? I think I need to change. Let me test something since we have a little time to do that, because I noticed I was monitoring the little Discord here, and it looks like it I noticed when you're talking it doesn't pick up my voice for some reason, and because like I'd be saying stuff to you and like you would just keep talking, I'm like, is he ignoring me or does he not hear me? And it sounds like you didn't hear me. Yeah, so if I turn off that, let's see, push to talk. Okay,
can you hear me?
Okay, trying to find a way where it just keeps it on all the time. It's only voice activity or push to talk. This is a little annoying. Let me bump up.
Yeah, I don't know, because it used to not do that, to my knowledge. Like I think last time it wasn't as big of a deal. Like this time it was strange. I think someone's been messing with the equipment.
Possibly. Yeah, it's really strange. If somebody did that also was annoying, as I came in with the program buttons off, and those buttons are like what puts the mic out. I'm like, why would it be off? I honestly just don't understand those sort of things that people do. It's like, why? Okay, so we're gonna stall here for a little bit of time so that we can get to the top of the hour, and then we will. We run out of topics, people, so we're gonna see how far we want to go in the next hour. Have a little fun, just shoot around any thoughts we have about anything, and we're going to talk about our favorite TV show. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about a movie I saw. I've already done an hour review of it. But, by the way, this is done in association a little bit with Versa, so if you want to check it out, you can check it out. Because Mr. Alex is from Versa. I forgot to clarify that at the beginning, but he is from Versa, which is a YouTube channel talking about a lot of cool stuff. How's your day been today?
It's been pretty good. I can't complain. I wasn't able to go and see the house, so I was upset. My great grandfather, he turned 96 today. So
oh wow.
I don't know. He was a smoker all his life, so you think he wouldn't survive that long? But
correlation does not equal causation.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess maybe my genes are that good. I don't know. Maybe they didn't put as much stuff in the cigarettes back then too.
Well, they might be putting soy in it now. Yeah,
probably. Well, like I saw an article today about a Subway, and they were putting it was like 52% soy in their chicken.
What?
So
52% soy?
Yeah, like they had, I think it was like NBC or something. This was a while ago. I saw like an article from one of those lefty websites that pops up, like that Vice. It was talking about like why Subway's fallen, and it's like their chicken. I think it was like CNN or NBC. It wasn't CNN. It was like NBC or MSNBC, and they said that they tested their chicken. They found it was like 62% soy.
Oh my god!
So if you don't want to be a soy boy, stay away from the chicken.
Yeah, lay off the chicken, boys and girls.
Yeah, I just don't like soy.
I don't either. I mean, of course, I eat soy-rios, as you call. Mikey's girlfriend was in my dorm, and she called them soy-rios too.
It's true.
I laughed. She's like, oh, look at all your soy-rios. You gotta lay off those, Sean. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, it's a problem. You don't want to become the soy boy. You know. You
But
wanna
what if I
become, like,
already
the alpha
am?
male.
What if I already am?
Well, you have to go start to reverse it. You're still young. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know how you can. Well, maybe like eat meat,
I love
drink
meat.
coffee, drink black coffee. That'll put hair in your
Oh
chest.
no, black coffee's disgusting.
Oh, it's not that bad.
It's bad. It's
unless you
bad,
get
man.
blood. It's good.
It's really bad. It tastes terrible. It doesn't even taste like coffee. It just tastes like just bitter drain cleaner.
Yeah, it's just healthy though. You don't put any soy in there.
Oh god. What about that Starbucks one
Like,
you
you
gave
know,
me? Did that
like,
have
you
soy?
can What?
That Starbucks one you got me, did that have soy?
Milk?
No, the Starbucks one that you got me, the coffee. Did that have soy?
Oh, that one. I don't think I didn't tell them to put any soy in there, so it shouldn't. Like, you just get a soy shot. They're like soy milk.
Oh yeah,
They
there's
put
soy milk
in there on
here.
request because people would like to be very vegan. So,
Yeah,
like,
it's very
especially in
progressive.
Starbucks.
Oh yeah. Dude, the vegans, like, they have so much stuff in the dining halls just for vegans now. Like, they have the soy milk. They have all kinds of stuff. It's like, oh, Penn State's so inclusive, aren't they?
Oh, jeez. Like, do they really need all that? And that's expensive, too. Like, I went to the store, like, soy milk is, like, I think $2 or $3 more per gallon than... And I don't even know if that was a gallon.
Jesus.
It's just so much more expensive. It's like...
$2 or $3 more? That's like double.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like $5 or something, or maybe $6. I don't even know if that was a gallon of, like, soy milk. And then it was like, I think
God.
$3.70 for a gallon of, like, whole milk, $3.12 for skim milk. And I like skim milk, but my girlfriend likes whole milk, so... Yeah, we just deal with whole milk for now. When I get a house, I'll just get 2 gallons of milk because I drink milk a lot.
Yeah, me too. I love me some milk. But we have to go into the next hour right now. We'll be right back in a few seconds after I do the weather and the disclaimer and all that fun stuff. We'll see you back soon on Line 90.7 FM.
This is Franco Harris, Penn State class of 1972, and also former running back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you're listening to The Lion 90.7 FM, WKPS State College.
Tell 'em, sister. Okay, everyone. This is your campus weather service forecast brought to you by Penn State Student Affairs. Right now, the weather, spoiler alert, hasn't changed much. It's 73 degrees outside. There is, on Sunday, a high 76, low 63. Mostly cloudy skies during the day with fewer showers overnight. Now, on Monday, high of 75, low 63. A mix of clouds and sun during the day. And skies are becoming cloudy overnight with showers arriving late. And then on Tuesday, high 73, low 68. Overcast with rain likely, especially overnight. And humid. Imagine my shock. Now on Wednesday, we have a high 76, low 65. Cloudy with rain showers during the day, partial clearing overnight. And then finally on Thursday, we have a high 77, low 57. Partly cloudy skies, not as humid, but mostly clear overnight. Okay.
All right.
You are listening to Real News, which is about fun, honest, informative, hopefully political talk with our usual banter and love for lots of things. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely of those producing it and or the people appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Line 90.7 FM, its staff, sponsors, or the Pennsylvania State University. For details on the copy of the transcript of today's broadcast, email officers@theline.fm or write to The Lion 90.7 FM, 125 Hub Robinson Center, University Park, PA 16802. And this transmission is in association with Versa Media, since we have Mr. Alex from Versa on, so you can check out all that fun stuff. Yeah, hello. So now we're just gonna, I don't know how long we're gonna go. We have till the next hour. We might stop short, I don't know if we run out of stuff, but we're just gonna talk about anything. I think we can easily just start with Mr. Alex has been watching a show called Atypical. It's his favorite show. He loves every second of it. I watched the first season with him a little bit. He kind of was ahead of me on that because he found out about it. It's a show about an autistic kid and his family and his school life and all this sort of drama and stuff. It's supposed to be like a comedy drama kind of not a sitcom, but it's really just sort of this drama with it's really a balance of drama and comedy. But I think we both concluded, like we talked about this on previous transmissions, but I think we agreed that it was pretty cringe the first season. And we were like laughing about a lot of the stuff that happened. Like the father is like a literal like cuckold, and the mom is like a literal cheater. She goes after his like bartender who she thinks is hot. He's not. Trust my word on that one. But she just gets all excited over this like edgy bartender, and she cheats on the father who's the father of the autistic kid, and then the daughter is like this sort of angsty teen like stereotype. I rooted for her for like a majority of it because I was like, she's the only one that's like saying this is all a bunch of like stupid crap. But then she goes after this like edgy boyfriend who she thinks is like hot stuff, and goes all like full rebel. And I was like, oh god, this is cringy. And then the autistic kid gets a he gets a little surprise in an igloo. How can I say this in a FCC compliant way?
I don't know. It's it's like rock, paper, scissors, but you just keep doing that.
Yeah, he got a little something. A little, woo!
Yeah, someone lent him a hand.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Yeah, so because there was this girl that was like after him, and like I thought she was just using him, which she was, but she still like got a little, lent him a hand with some stuff. And that's where first season ends. I kind of spoiled the entire thing very vaguely, but here's season 2. Yeah, it's a year old. Yeah, so can you give us a non-spoiler sort of like, or should we just do full on spoilers? Because I personally don't care, because I don't care about this show. I just watch it for the meme. But I'll let you just go on what your thoughts are with season 2 of Atypical.
Well, season 2, I actually kind of thought it was pretty decent. Like, honestly, like wow. Season 2, it started off like right after the dad found out that his mother was, was cucking him with a C. I just want to make sure the FCC understands that. Yes, because it sounds like something else. But
that is literally what was happening.
Yeah, cheating on his mom, his mom was cheating on him. Yeah. And they have a bit of like a break for a little bit. She ends up moving to some lady's house. Not really sure who she is. I guess maybe a friend. His old therapist, they aren't talking anymore because he did some really stupid things in season 1. Yeah. He tried to go and give her like a gift to be like a penguin person. So he likes that's his whole like fascination. He has like a autistic fixation on penguins. And the Antarctic. Yeah. And so it starts with that, but like in this one, it's like he was completely like just crazy in the last season. He was like uncontrollable. He had like meltdowns every other episode, but in this one, he only really has like maybe one meltdown. Oh wow! The entire season. Like it's just like, and I think that was kind of good because they made it so that he's like not just this like meme of like an autistic guy. He was actually like a living person. And like in the old season, I think it was a lot. He was kind of making all the problems in the family. And this one, it's not as much about that. Like he's still the central character of it, but like his sister gets a lot more fleshed out, and she does some things, and it's really the ending. There's another cliffhanger there. Oh, really? And I don't know if I'm going to spoil that, but there are some things involving her and I thought it was a little bit tacky. There's a particular angle with her and her boyfriend that I wasn't exactly. It just felt like it was kind of rushed. And then like she had this problem with this girl at school, and something happened, and I kind of thought that she went to this preppy school because she was a really good track runner. And then she had some problems with that. And then the kid himself, he's just like super, like a lot more like focused in this season, a lot less like crazy. And his like friend Zahid, he plays a lot more of a bigger role. Like that was his, it was like a guy who's like best buddy. Yeah. And he's like kind of just this like is like they're all kind of memes in this, but like he was just this like sort of, he thinks of himself as a ladies man. Yeah. But like, he really isn't. He all worked at like basically a Best Buy.
Is he really cringy?
Tetropolis in the series.
Is he really cringy this season, like last season?
Yeah, but he's a lot more fleshed out though. Yeah, like I think you should watch it. It was actually a lot better writing, I think, in the season. Like I'd definitely watch it if I was you. But like, and it's just like there's a lot of cringe involving the cuckoldry from the last season, but it's not quite as bad. And then Sam, like the main character, the autistic guy, he actually does like him and the girl were kind of broken up at the end, and they kind of stay broken up. And then he ends up finding like a new love interest, kind of.
Oh.
For a little bit. Like it's not really. I don't think they ever did anything. I mean, I think they like kissed, but that was about it. But that was, and she gets like really jealous, and he actually ends up like he's applying for colleges, and he actually like graduates high school at the end, and then it leaves on a cliffhanger with the sister. Like she's definitely a lot more a part of this, and like a lot more fleshed out character. But
yeah,
I just don't know about her particular new arc. Like that just kind of happened there.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it too much because I think this is definitely a lot better, right? Like it feels interesting. And they try to like Julia the therapist. I didn't like that because like they could have just wrote her out, and I think they probably should have.
Yeah.
But she found out she was pregnant in the last season. She keeps showing up even though she's no longer Sam's therapist, and he's going to group therapy now.
Oh
he's
my
trying to be
God.
a lot more independent.
It's like an AA meeting, I bet.
Huh?
I bet it's like an AA meeting now.
It's kind of like an AA meeting, but for like Autism Anonymous.
Yeah.
You know, that's basically what it is.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to actually watch probably a few episodes tonight after because they're showing at the hub here, they're showing Incredibles 2, which I've already seen, but I want to give it a second chance in a theater. So I'm going to see that at 9:30ish, but I'll probably catch an Atypical or two. But as someone,
I think it was actually a decent series now. Like they actually, like after the first season, they just kept making him like the central meme of it. And this one, he's definitely been toned down a lot. Like he was like maybe like an 8 or 9 before. Now he's like a 4 or 5. Like he does some pretty stupid things, but like it's not like he's just like pulling people's hair or like just attacking people.
He's not doing random like spurgy stuff.
Like he still is a little bit random, but like
yeah,
he learns. He's like a lot more like the growth between the characters is almost unrealistic, and that's one thing I don't like. It's just his character grows so much between that and the last season, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. So how would you rate this roughly? Would you give it like an A, a B, a C?
Well, I'd probably give it a B to B minus. Like I think they definitely like the old one was definitely like a C. I think it's definitely grown 1 grade lighter, but like I don't know. There's still some things I feel like they kind of tacked on, and there's still a lot of baggage from the old season. Like I don't know why they need the whole cuckoldry angle in this, but like it was kind of funny, but it just gets downright cringeworthy at some moments. Like, and that's like the big thing. That's like there's just so many different like plot lines in this series, but like it's actually enjoyable. I actually was sad that it was over because I was curious what happens, and I'm very upset that they left on a cliffhanger again.
That's funny. You're getting to this stuff now, but I thought it was so funny with the dad because he starts off like you kind of think he's kind of cool, but like he turns out to be just this utter like wimp. And then you see like what he says in real life, the actor, where he's like really pissed. He's really like really intense, and he did this video on like his Twitter where he's like, I'm glad Alex Jones got banned, he doesn't deserve freedom. I'm like, you moron. Like you deny freedom to one person, you deny it to everyone. I mean, he's such a like he seems like a really like I bet he's like an alcoholic and like a really mean guy like in real life, and then when you look at him in the show, he's like this like wimpy little like cuckold.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just feel like the show, there's so many like little subplots going on. It's almost too much at some point. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, and like it's a lot more generous to the autistic community in this one, because it makes at least him more like normal.
I wonder if they got any blowback from season 1 from like the autism community. Like, yeah, this is kind of offensive. Like as somebody who lives with autism, I didn't find it offensive. I just find it super like stereotypical and kind of ignorant and kind of just really cringy, like meme form of autism. It's like, yeah, there are autistic people that way, but most of them like don't like just spur out like that and go like freak out and like, start like grabbing people or something, or like, they don't do that. They react to things in weird ways. But it's like I know they're trying to do something different by making a show of somebody that has autism, but like to be honest, I wouldn't have greenlit that show.
Well, and just to be clear, you live with someone who has autism, not living with autism.
Oh yeah. I worded that like I'm trying to word it in like a funny kind of way, but when I meant living with autism, I meant I live with somebody, yes, that has autism. I don't have autism. I mean, weekly listeners probably think I do, and I understand that. But for the record, I don't. But we haven't checked it.
Have you ever been tested?
I haven't. There's some weird stuff about me you people don't know, but I will tell you, autism is not one of them.
I don't know. You got to find out, man. I mean, whatever happens, they're fine. Anyone with autism or like disorders, they're all fine people.
Dude, my textbook for one of my classes was saying it was like going full on like autism can be weaponized. It's like autism can be a skill. Autism is a strength. I'm like, is it though? I mean, I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm saying like, look at my situation. I know somebody with autism. I live with him. And let me tell you, there's a lot of things he can't do. It's not a strength.
Well, no, it depends on the level of autism, because it literally is a spectrum. Like you could have on like your brother would be on the less functional, but
and then
you get
Bill
like,
Gates.
Sam would probably be like somewhere between the first season. He'd probably be like a little bit above your brother, and this season he's probably more towards like the middle of the right side. But like there's people with autism who are like Einstein. You get these people.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, Bill Gates. Probably, I don't know about Mark Zuckerberg. He's something. He's
just
I don't want to say that dehumanizes autistic people. He's a replicant. I don't think he has. I don't know if he has autism.
He's just an AI. He's a replicant. He's not human.
Yeah, I mean, he might have autism though. Like, because I know like they do act a little bit strange, but I don't know if he does. He's pretty good with social. I mean, he made a social media profile, so I don't know if. You could really make it so like, because that's one of the things people with autism have problems with, is social skills.
Yeah,
like,
that's
generally,
what it
like,
is.
But like I think this season did a lot more better job humanizing autistic people.
Yeah.
But there's still a couple times where I thought it was a little bit cringy, and I think it just depends, because like that's the problem with autism. It's just so wide of a spectrum. I think they need to go in like, if you're on the upper right side of the like ability to live on your own, like functional autism. That would be one thing, but I think that should be one disorder, like multiple disorders, and then just like generalized autism should be on the left, like towards the left side, because there's a big difference between your brother and like someone like Einstein, who was a functioning, once he was an adult, a pretty decently functioning human, versus some people who literally like need to have an adult with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, well, what I think maybe this show. They might have considered this and might do this in future seasons, but maybe they should have other autistic characters, but they have different forms of autism. I think they haven't done that because first, you don't want to get overly complicated real quick in your first few seasons, but I think they'd also be afraid of it taking away from the point of the show, which is the main character is the only one with autism. But I think it would be an interesting angle, an interesting little twist if you had another autistic character that maybe he has to interact with or something, and that person has a different form of autism, and maybe is much worse or maybe much better. Watch they find out. Oh, what if they did this as a plot twist? The sister turns out to have autism.
No, she doesn't. No, that wouldn't make any sense. But like they do a little bit in the therapy parts, because they have people who are like worse than Sam.
Oh, okay.
Like significantly. Like,
see, I can write this stuff. Like look at this. I can write this stuff. I've already got it figured out.
But like, it was Dave. I think he was one that I'm trying to think of the name. That was a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Dave.
Ooh. Wait, boyfriend
David.
As in boyfriend or boyfriend and girlfriend?
Oh, I think it was. I think David, the character.
Yeah.
Like the boyfriend.
The boyfriend of who?
I thought he was autistic.
Wait,
I thought he like.
Wait,
I thought his actual actor was like autistic.
Are you thinking of the sister's boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, he's just stupid. Like he's just stupid.
Oh. Evan. Oh, it was Evan.
Evan.
It was a Graham Rogers. I don't know. Does he actually have?
Let's fact check
No, I
this.
guess he doesn't. He just seemed a little bit off to me. Like
Yeah,
he could have had autism, like a high functioning.
He's like
But
somebody.
they don't really. That's the one thing. They don't really have any like really high functioning autistic people in there.
Well, Evan reminds me of somebody we know.
Yeah, I'll put a kibosh on that. But I know you saw a movie lately, and I did as well. If you, I don't know,
Yes.
did you already go over that in a previous transmission?
Not in a transmission, but I'll try to give a quick review this time. Not an hour-long review, but one of the last week of its showing here, I saw very anticipated Mission Impossible Fallout. This is the 6th installment of the franchise. I have not been a fan of the series until I saw Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation. And then I went back and saw Ghost Protocol, the 4th one, and I got really excited for this one because it got there was a turning point in Ghost Protocol of this franchise where it became way less silly, way less preposterous, and more about Tom Cruise doing like these awesome stunts and having a better story and better characters and all that stuff. So I was really interested in this movie, and I saw the trailer like Super Bowl Sunday when that like 30-second trailer dropped, and they dropped the full trailer the next day, and I was one of the few trailers that actually sold me on the movie. I was like, this is gonna be awesome. That is such a good trailer. If anybody hasn't seen it, you gotta watch it. It is a great, amazing trailer. But I saw this movie the other day. I haven't seen many movies. I've only seen 3 movies this summer. I'm counting this as a summer movie. I've seen Solo, A Star Wars Story, which was so disappointing. I mean, it wasn't disappointing because I had low expectations. It was aggressively average and just boring. I don't know how they can make Han Solo's story boring. I saw Incredibles 2, which actually that was kind of disappointing. I was a bit disappointed with that one. And so then at the end of the summer, Mission Impossible Mission Impossible Fall comes out. I have to say, this movie is awesome. I don't use the word awesome very often, but that is the only way I can describe this movie. It is action-packed. It has good. It's a fun, simple, but good story with a lot of complex plot elements to it. The characters are great, as always. It's got a lot of crew. The main team comes back of Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg, and of course Tom Cruise. But you have Rebecca Ferguson coming back. You have Solomon Lane, the villain from the previous film, coming back, and he's great in this. Everybody, the acting's all top. Alec Baldwin's back too. Everything's top notch acting wise. And what I liked about this one is they all get their little moments to do something cool and to do something important, which really the past films haven't done for all the characters. So that was great. But the music was awesome. Everybody knows the Mission Impossible theme from the TV show these movies use, but this is the best version. I've heard that theme. It's beefy and punchy and really nice. And the music, but the music stood out this time. Like, that would be the only part that would stand out before, but the way they used the theme and used new themes and other stuff really stood out and was really well done. It had a more dramatic, epic tone, which suited the movie better. But the cinematography, to me, just looking at this movie, it's gorgeous. This is the past 4 and 5 were gorgeous, but this one really has a lot of shots that are just like jaw-dropping. Really well shot. And then, of course, this is the centerpiece of this movie, is the action. There's a lot of crappy action movies out there. There's a lot of great action movies out there, but this is really the gold standard for an action movie because it has really 5 to 6, depending on how you count them, major, massive, awesome action set pieces that the average action movie could only barely do one of them. And this does like 5 of them. There is a awesome foot chase. There's an awesome motorcycle chase. There's an awesome car chase. There's an awesome bathroom fight. There's an awesome helicopter chase. There's an awesome, other little bits of action throughout. I'm trying to remember if there's any other ones. That's pretty much your main ones there. But they're all long, long as they need to be, but you still get your bang for your buck out of it. And there's throughout the movie and appropriate sayings, and the locations are so cool, but the continuity in the action's great. The stunt work is amazing. Tom Cruise is crazy. His Scientology is really screwed up, but my God, this guy literally puts his life on the line to entertain you people, and he is doing all his own stunts. He broke his leg, his leg or his ankle technically in one of the stunts, but he kept going in the shot to complete it. And he just puts all into it. At 56, he's still at the top of his game. I mean, it's really impressive. There's so many moments where my mouth was just open at just how awesome it was. The sixth action scene that I was forgetting was the Halo jump. I can't believe I forgot that, where Tom Cruise literally went like 30,000 feet in the air, jumped out of an airplane 107 times to get this one shot where he's skydiving down. And he's still acting while he's doing it. He's still acting in all these action scenes, especially this one where he's falling down. He has to help Henry Cavill put his oxygen thing on, and then they land. Oh, and it's all in one shot, too, which is so cool. I don't know how they did that. Like, it was impressive. You can tell I'm nerding out over this movie big time because it's just, at a technical level, it's amazing. You know, pushing really the envelope of what you can film. And, you know, and after that, of course, you get that bathroom scene, which is just awesome, where they're fighting. It's like Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise against this, like, Asian guy that's, I think he's trained some sort of martial arts, and he's handing it to them. Like, he's beating them. He's winning. So you get to see some vulnerability there. I mean, it was just so good. Oh God, I could talk about this for hours. I really could, because it's just so great.
And you've done it before.
Yeah, I did talk about it for an hour in a review online, but oh man, I love it. I mean, I'm the type of person that has a very high standard for movies. I mean, I analyze the crap out of them, and I nitpick the crap out of them. So I'm gonna love those, epics, those, like, sophisticated thinker art, pieces. Like, those are gonna be my, saying go-to movies of quality. But I still love action. I still love some movies you can turn your brain off to, but I still can't turn my brain off to any movie. But, in terms of action, movies, this is one of my favorites. This is just so well done. I loved every minute of it. It's 2.5 hours. You never get bored. You never get tired of it. In fact, you almost want more of it, but it's really the perfect length. But I loved it. I was literally like, my mouth was open in certain scenes because it was just so awesome. Oh, man. It's just one of those things that, like, I think it taps into that primal, adrenaline rush. That sort of, you want to be an adventurous secret agent guy. I mean, that's sort of testosterone. Like, this movie is literally just a 2.5 hour long injection of testosterone. You want a cure for the soy? Watch Mission Impossible Fallout.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a pretty thorough review right there. Much more condensed.
It was condensed.
I like it.
It was condensed. Yeah, I just have fun with that. But I recommend everybody to. I don't think you can't see it in theaters in Penn State anymore, but I think in more major areas you can still see it. Like, you do not want to miss this in a theater. It's one of those movies that just shines in the theater. It's just a great experience. But
well, I actually saw a movie myself, The Nun, and I'd like to review on that if you think we got the time.
Oh, of course, dude. We have a half an hour here. Oh, wait, I gotta go to commercial break. Sorry, thank you. You kind of reminded me of that. We're gonna go a quick break, and then Mr. Alex is gonna review The Nun.
Hey, it's Sister Sylvie from the Homegrown Music Show, a unique music experience for seasoned music lovers. Hippie at its core, old and new, deep and soulful. It's all good and tasty. It's homegrown.
Tune in Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 3, for your dose of the Homegrown Music Show with Sister Sylvie. No one leaves hungry. The music never stops.
There's more to music than just the hits. Join me, DJ A-Lot, for Trending, a unique blend of the latest music, throwback favorites, and top 40 hits. Plus, listen to up-and-coming tracks from new artists before they hit the mainstream. Trending with DJ A-Lot, Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Only on The Lion, 90.7 FM.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kickstart. I've been feeling it since 1966. Might be over now, but I feel it still.
It began with 5 words. If not me, then who? The Travis Manion Foundation has taken those 5 words and grown them into a national movement. The Travis Manion Foundation is dedicated to assisting our nation's veterans, families of the fallen, and the next generation of young leaders. It's about adopting the motto, if not me, then who, and applying it to your daily lives like so many others have already done. From our 9/11 Heroes Run to putting character to action in your community, discover how you can honor the fallen by challenging the living. Get involved at travismanion.org.
The thing is, I would never give blood before. You know, before this happened to me, I thought of every excuse in the book, but I'm so thankful that everybody didn't think the way I did, or I would have died.
Like so many new mothers, Noelle needed blood during the birth of her son. Thanks to the American Red Cross and a donor like you, it was there. One donation, just an hour of your time, can help save up to 3 lives. Please sign up to give now at redcrossblood.org.
The Lion. Jesus loves us. But everyone else thinks we're a bunch of assholes. The Lion, 90.7 FM.
Nun. You're gonna review the nun. If anybody's interested and you want to call in and talk to us and have a debate, maybe a discussion about movies or something, or just talk about the news, call in at 814-865-9577. We'll have you on. Just know that once you call us, you'll be put on air. But time for the nun review by Mr. Alex.
All right, so I actually went and saw the movie The Nun a few weeks ago with my girlfriend, and honestly, it was a little bit of a disappointment. Like, I kind of rank it around maybe a little bit above the first Annabelle because I wasn't a big fan of that. It's like, for a little bit of backstory, it was based off of the main antagonist in the Conjuring 2, which, if you haven't seen that, it's been out for over a year now, so I'm going to spoil it for you. So basically, in that movie, their son was possessed by this something like that. Like, there's a demon called Valak in there, and it took the form of this demonic nun like thing. And this movie kind of paints a backstory to it. And the thing was, like, The Conjuring was based off of a true story, and The Nun, to my knowledge, it's not based off of an actual story because it's like it really can't be that much based off of an actual story. It's more of based off of like. It's his own thing. It's kind of fictional. It's more of a fantasy setting because, like, it starts out. There's this nunnery in this. I think it's like Romania, was some backwoods like European country like that. And there's this nun in there, and she ends up like killing herself at the beginning because there's this like other demon inside there. There's like a demon stuck inside like this nunnery, and basically this like a priest and a nun. Or like she's not a nun yet, but a priest and this like soon to be nun from like somewhere else. They end up traveling to Romania to go and figure out what's going on because they saw the nun's suicide in the newspaper and they're concerned of what may have caused that. And they go over there, and with the help of this like farmer dude who's like tilling the fields and stuff, and he's like the one guy who brings supplies to the nunnery, and he goes over there and they talk, and he brings them to the nunnery that this is located at, and they go and investigate. And there's a lot of like it's not like The Conjuring. If you're expecting The Conjuring, don't look for that here. This is a lot less nuanced. There's a lot more like action sequences and like jump scares. It's like a completely different thing, and that's why I guess they didn't put The Conjuring in there. It's not like, because like The Conjuring, like, say what you will, you probably don't believe. I know you don't believe in any of this paranormal stuff, but like it's like done in a very realistic way, like at least the original Conjuring, like not maybe very realistic, but in a semi-realistic way. This is just like complete like fantasy stuff. You see like things like grave people getting like stuck in like graves and like zombies things popping out. It's just like, what? This can't be like in the same universe. It's just so ridiculous. But so was Annabelle and Annabelle 2, and there was a lot of just a bunch of jump scares, not as much of a coherent plot. The ending was kind of interesting, so it ties it back to the Conjuring series as a whole. It was kind of like a side story. I don't know if they're going to proclaim this is true in like The Conjuring, but I don't think they'll probably touch this guy again because they tend to go and do like a different demon in every Conjuring. But definitely not of that same material. Like The Conjuring 1 and 2, like I think the 2 was the best one by far, and I think there were some of my favorite horror movies like I've ever seen. And I'd probably give it like, if I had to do it like a score, I'd probably give this like a C or C minus. Like it's really not all that good. But it was something. Like if I was going to watch on Netflix in a year whenever it comes out on there, because it's definitely like it did really good in the box office. Like I think close to like $181 million, $182 million, and it only took them $22 million to make it. So they made good bucks out of it. But I feel like it should have been a lot better, and it's going to probably hurt some fans who are expecting more because it was part of the Conjuring universe, and I don't like that. But it did say it didn't say The Conjuring 3, so it is obviously a side story in the same manner as Annabelle, where it kind of goes and looks more into a particular demonic artifact. But like, it's just so like ridiculous, the whole premise of it. It really takes you away from it. It's just completely different from The Conjuring. Like, just the level of expectation. This would have been better if it wasn't like in the Conjuring universe, but I can kind of see why they did, because it did go a little bit more into the backstory. But I would have liked more backstory, I guess, like maybe done in a more realistic manner, because this is just like completely ridiculous. Like, the only real thing in common with a little bit from the beginning, a little bit from the end, and the demon being a nun. That's about it. Because like the demon in this one's just like a lot more powerful than what we see later. So it kind of makes you wonder. And like the whole story around that nunnery is just something out of like almost like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It doesn't feel like it should be in anything like in the Conjuring universe. So yeah, I would see it on Netflix if you're bored in a year or two, whenever it comes out on there. But definitely, no, I won't go to the theater to see this. Like, it's just not up to snuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror fan, so I generally just avoid seeing horror films in general. But I understand what you're saying when it gets too ridiculous, because it's a perfect comparison with the movie I saw, which is the first 3 Mission Impossible films are just so preposterous, so silly at times, that it's like a cartoon, and I can't take it seriously. And it's a series that's almost trying to take itself seriously, but outside like these crazy stunts. So you have to balance it out. Where if you're like Fast and the Furious, which isn't taking itself seriously at all, but they kind of act like they are, that's where that series turns me off. But there are some movies that like Shoot 'Em Up is a movie that is not taking itself seriously at all, and that's what's awesome about it. That's what's fun about it. But the first 3 Mission Impossibles were like Tom Cruise would be in like this like tunnel with on a helicopter. It would just be this helicopter like flying through a train tunnel, chasing a train, and he jumps off the helicopter, and like that helicopter is like close, like hitting the train. Like, it's so preposterous and silly that there's no stakes anymore. Like, Ethan Hunt surviving all these things removes any stakes because he can literally just keep surviving. Whereas when you get to like Ghost Protocol and he's on that Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world, Tom Cruise is actually scaling the Burj Khalifa. And that was a big turning point of the series, because then you had more believability, more stakes, more realism. You can actually feel the fear, the height, and the stakes to it when it's done for real. And that's where Fallout exceeds just tremendously, is that it learns all those lessons and just cranks it up to 11, where he's actually flying a helicopter. He learned how to fly a helicopter just for this film. Of course, he'll use it for other films, but he's actually flying the helicopter. He's actually dangling off the bottom of a helicopter on the rope that's connected to the helicopter. He's actually doing these things, and you feel it. And again, like that bathroom scene, he's getting his butt handed to him. Him and Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's like this big guy, and he's muscular and strong. He's getting his, they're both getting it handed to them. And so you feel that vulnerability of like, yeah, they could lose, they could die. They're not going to, but there is some surprising moments in this movie still that give it those stakes and that realism. And that's what you need in a movie for your audience to have some level of believability and to keep them invested in it. I mean, horror is obviously a more fantastical and more, abstract thing, but you can still, like The Shining is a kind of a believable film if you interpret it certain ways. Like some of those like weird things that happen, you can interpret as just people seeing stuff, but some guy could go really mad. I mean, Jack Torrance was an alcoholic, and it sounds like they kind of imply that he wasn't treating his family entirely well, but he gets driven to madness, leaving being in solidarity for so long. So you can kind of believe that. That's where it makes it more it's just more believable and more interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's some good stuff right there. But I don't know. I the one thing that the Nun that I kind of really did admire from them, and it's really sad that this has to be a plus, is that the Nun did not go into politics like at all. Like I'll give him some props for that, because like every movie it seems like, actually it's, like for the most part they tend to go and like bring politics into it.
Yeah.
Like all the major new releases. Now there's a couple that don't. Like I know I saw Operation Finale a couple weekends ago, and you'd think that one would bring in politics, because that was about some guy who's hunting like a Nazi.
Mhm.
But thankfully they didn't, and it was actually a decent movie. But
Good.
yeah, it's just sad. The
Well,
current state
that's-
of movies.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. And I've ranted about that many times on this show. But Mission Impossible Fallout doesn't mention any politics. That series never has, which is great. You know, it's just pure escapism. But what is interesting, this is a minor spoiler, but it's a spoiler. So if you don't want to be spoiled by this movie, which I wouldn't want you to be, just close your ears for the next 30 seconds. But there's a scene where they have to, one of the people gives the government or the CIA false intelligence through a dossier. And I was like, this is a red-pilled moment right here. This is just like the Trump Golden Showergate dossier. Like, it literally was a very similar thing. I mean, the contents were different, but it was pretty much they literally called it a dossier, too. I was like, this is pretty red-pilled for the normies.
Yeah, I agree. But anyways, I think that's about it for the movie reviews. Got anything else going on that you want to talk about?
I saw an anime.
You saw an anime? What anime was it? Was it Samurai Jack?
I knew you were going to say that. It's not an anime. I saw last weekend, I saw Ghost in the Shell for the first time. The anime version, not the 2017 Scarlett Johansson live action version. Because many people recommended it to me because they said, oh, you like Cyberpunk, you like Blade Runner, you're going to like this. It's, you know, Samurai Jack is kind of inspired by it. I can see that because there's like these two montage sequences with just music and visuals telling the story. Those scenes are awesome. Those scenes are great, and I love those scenes. But the rest of the movie is very meh to me. It's kind of confusing because they use a lot of techno blabble and you don't really know what's going on. The characters are really bland for the most part, except for the main character. And I just didn't understand some of the stuff happening. I really didn't understand the point of it either. They just had to catch this hacker, and they kind of do, but like the ending sort of has some depth and meaning to it, but it's like, I just don't get what's so great about it. I mean, it's well shot, like for the cinematography. I mean, it's not bad for an anime, but you know, the anime style I find kind of crappy, so I didn't like the style of it. But the music was pretty good. You know, that's really about it. It didn't impress me much. Have you ever seen it?
What movie? Or anime? Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Yeah, I've never seen Ghost in the Shell, so I can't comment on that.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, I would recommend it only because those two scenes are pretty cool, but maybe just skip the whole movie and just see those two scenes. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.